Hi, welcome to another evening at the Harnish Barn. A little bit of barn banter. We missed it last week because we did our clinic, but it's been a little bit of a peaks and valleys the last 2 days here. One employee up and quit, and luckily we had somebody in line to step in. There was a little bit of divine intervention there. And good vet day today. 2 mares checked in full. So one to absolutely a gentleman and one to just comes easy. So we had some highlights to go along with the lowlights. But tonight's barn banter is a little bit of a controversial one because we're going to talk about commissions.
Selling horses.
Right. It's a process. And, we sell a lot of horses. We broker a lot of, particularly the Gentlemen Send Roses horses. And the people know that. So if they've got one for sale or they're looking for one, they give us a call. And generally, yes, there is a commission involved in that. So I want to give people a little bit of an idea as to what any broker does to earn their commissions. And we're going to basically talk from the standpoint of, I'm not just a broker who is on the internet and selling the horses. A lot of the horses, I want to say 75% of them are in the barn. Maybe not that many, 50%.
Yeah.
50%.
90% of them are a product of our breeding program, though.
And
either ones people have bred, or ones that are here.
And what goes into it? What time commitment do we have in brokering a horse? So I'm a little more internet savvy than Brent, so I'm the one that puts them on Facebook. I don't use a lot of the other Dream Horse or Horse for Sale anymore because I just find that there's so many different groups and areas that people on Facebook go to look for horses that I don't need to put them on other websites. And so you just have no idea the time of day that they'll message, the number of questions that they'll ask. I have years worth of Facebook messages that I've saved, private messages, that, I'll go back to a client, or a suspect, I'm gonna call them a suspect, not even a prospect, that when I get a message from them, okay, and this is a little bit of a complaint. I tell you on Facebook to private message me, and then 20 comments later, price and video. Well, it's a lot easier if you private message me because it shows up and I don't have to go look you up on private messenger and make sure that more importantly, make sure that I answer all of them. So, but some of these people, when I open up their private message, I'm like, oh, wow. In 2014, they were looking at this horse. In 2015, they were looking at this horse. In 2016, they were looking at this horse. So you kind of get a feel for whether or not they are valid buyers. And, that's one of the things that you have that a broker is doing for you, because they get a feel for whether or not this is really a solid buyer or not. But there's a lot that goes into the sale of a horse.
It takes a lot of time and knowledge, and I think a lot of people, that's what they look for when they go to a broker, is the amount of contacts and the questions to ask and the answers to give, Yeah, it does take a lot of time. I watch how much time you spend doing it, and I think you're right. There's a lot of people that do not understand the time or commitment to just selling a horse. It's not like I'll offer it for sale and take the first offer. You'll deal with 20 people before you close a sale, or 30 or 40 or 50 people before somebody purchases your horse that's for sale. So,
And I compare matching a horse and a potential buyer just like a marriage. Some people aren't gonna get along. And there's a lot of questions I ask. Who's your trainer? What do you plan on doing with the horse? If I know the horse particularly, I'm gonna know whether or not it needs to have maintenance. What type of veterinary care, what type of blacksmith care it's gonna have to have. How it shows in the pen. And it's not just our own horses of how it shows in the pen. Someone will contact us to sell it, and because of Brent's contacts, one or two phone calls, we can get a hold of somebody that has actually seen this horse show and
knows the horse
and knows whether or not it's legit in the pen or not, and has a little bit more of the knowledge of what it's going to take to get it shown. That type of thing, so that people don't make mistakes when they buy a horse, because there's just people that are just not honest. They want to sell a horse and they just don't care that there is going to be any ramifications on the fact that this is not a good match. For us, I can't even begin to tell you the number of repeat customers we have. We have customers that don't even, that if they buy one horse, we've got some customers that have come back to us for 4 and 5 horses. They, if they're gonna look for a horse, they call us up and they tell us particularly what they want. And in those cases,
lots of times they don't even see the horse. They don't come and ride it. If we say it works, they, and I want to caution, this is not about us. This is about people that sell horses, and those that even do it on the different sites and are doing this for a living. Their reputation is important, and they do have a lot of contacts, and they want repeat customers. And as Julie started out, it's about, this conversation's about commissions. Well, and I may be jumping ahead of you, I'm sorry, but that's what you pay commissions for, is the knowledge and the contacts and the time it takes to deal with people and make sure that it's a right fit and a good fit, and because a lot of times I'm not even sure some buyers know what they want. They want a paint horse, they want a pinto horse, they want a double registered. They don't care how it's bred, they don't care what it does, they just want, and it's gotta be a certain budget. And when a professional asks, the questions that Julie's talking about, then the buyer gets a better picture of what they're buying, and the seller gets their horse to the right home. And again, with the internet, and the whole world knows I'm not a big internet fan, but if it doesn't go well, the whole world knows about it.
yeah.
And nobody wants that, and so when you think about paying a commission, when a sales professional asks for a commission or is expecting a commission, think about everything that went in it to make that sale happen. And time is money, and to make a successful sale that both parties are happy with, they love the horse they bought, the owner is happy with the people that bought it and that the horse got sold, there's gotta be some compensation to make a good sale. And that's what I encourage everybody to think about, because this is not an easy process.
And I don't want you to discount the fact that I'm certain we're not the only ones. There are many brokers that, then they arrange for the vet check. How am I gonna get it here? If it's
Shipping.
coming from across country. If we've done this for a while, we know the shippers to trust and who will do the job, and just recently I got scammed on a shipper. So, shame on me. But, I'd already paid half deposit down in an hour from him picking up the horse. Well, his truck broke. He needs more money so that he can pay for the repair bill. My bad. But there are people that I'm very used to dealing with and that are my favorite people, that if I'm going to, I know their routes. I know who travels east, west, north, south. You understand then all the paperwork that has to be done. A bill of sale should be done. You need health papers, you need Coggins papers. When was the last time the blacksmith saw it? When was the last time they'd had their vaccinations? Things like that to make this sale be as transparent as possible so that the buyer gets what they think they're getting and the seller has made a good transaction. That requires a lot of time.
Yeah.
And, when you're buying the safety, in many instances of dealing with a broker, you're buying the safety of making a good sale. Somebody just recently, and that's kind of what we've talked about doing this little chat, but somebody just recently said the trainer didn't find them the deal. The horse is in full training. Do they owe a commission? Well, did the trainer help on the video? Did the trainer ride? Because trust me, as anybody's looking at a horse, and they look to see who's on it, if there's a trainer on it, it's a little different level of comfort that you have than just anybody that you don't know. Did the trainer make the video? Did the trainer take the pictures? Are they going to come to the barn, and is the trainer going to participate in making sure that horse is clipped
Presented.
and presented well and ridden the day before and lunged if it needs to be? Or if the buyer wants to ask questions of the trainer's going to be
Have more
involved
time.
in
Involved,
that.
yep.
And that's over and above coming out here every day and putting a saddle on and riding it and putting it back in its stall. So maybe they didn't find the buyer. Maybe they hadn't found the buyer yet. So, you just need to think about the time that you're gonna ask them to commit or have already previously committed to helping you get that horse sold.
I think the thing that helps us most on that note, and I would encourage everybody, and one of my life's little sayings is experience is the best teacher, and we've had quite a bit of experience doing this. Have all those kind of details worked out ahead of time. One of the very first things we will tell people that contact us about selling a horse, understand we get a commission. We don't do this for free. We're not a charity. We have a lot of time invested in this and stuff. Commission is X. I think we can do better than that. We will split everything over X number of dollars, or rather than a commission, I will guarantee you get this if you're comfortable, and everything over that I get. Whatever the terms are, make sure that you've got a clear understanding of who gets paid what when. And
it's hard to ask those questions but you are
Saves you so much headache.
Yeah, you are so
It's-
much better off
Yeah.
when you have asked those questions. And you know, and I'm not gonna tell you you don't need to be a little bit of buyer beware, seller beware, because we know of some deals where the commissions that went around on it were actually more than what the horse was.
originally cost.
Yeah, and we just
Yeah.
take a big deep breath and we go, you know, you've heard me talk on some of these barn banners about ethics, and you kind of take a deep breath and you go, how can you do that to somebody just because they said that they would spend that amount of money? You don't have to spend all of it. And it, you know, it is a very touchy situation, but if you get yourself the right broker, you're going to end up being a more satisfied buyer.
And seller, you
Right.
know,
And in
there
some,
won't be bad feelings on either end if it's done right.
and in
Yeah.
some cases, I'm going to say as high as 20% of the cases, I go out and find a horse that wasn't even on the market. And somebody will say, I didn't know that horse was for sale. Well, one of the moms that she's now bought her 5th horse, I believe, from us, and just bought one for her, had just bought one for her granddaughter. She called me up and she's told me what she wanted, and so I went out searching, and that horse wasn't even necessarily on the market. And
Certainly was not known to be on the market.
right, and so, you know, in some cases, you know, when people have contacted me and then somebody calls me and says, oh, I want to sell my horse, well, I'm like, oh, I have got the perfect buyer. And I know there are several other brokers that have got this same thing going on. So, you know, they know where to place their inventory. They know what inventory they have for sale. And when they ask the right questions of what do you want, you know, everybody laughs at the buyer that says that I want to buy a foal so they can, that and my 5-year-old child can grow up together. You know, I'm like, ding, 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 bing, bad, 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 bad. This is why.
This won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you are paying for knowledge. You're paying for us getting on and looking up their show record. In some instances, you're paying for us to help you price the horse. You know, Brent has a consulting business. He does equine appraisals. So we kind of have an idea based upon the show record and the pedigree and their talent about what the horse should sell for. And so we can help you price that horse accordingly. I just recently sold one that the lady shot me a price and I was like, no, with her show record and as pretty as she is, and we sold her for what I thought was a
Yeah.
fair price in today's market. So commissions are tough. And when you think about 10%, you know, it's okay, you know, and as I talked to another trainer that may be involved in it, you know, are you okay with splitting a commission? We'll do half and half.
Whatever it takes to make the sale good for everybody, you know.
And so you just kind of understand that you really don't have an idea of the amount of time that goes on in the back end for a broker.
And this may be an afterthought as we sit here and have this conversation, you know, and there's been a lot of points that I think we both brought up, but a equine profession, well, I better be careful, not a veterinarian or a blacksmith, but a trainer, broker, you know, they don't make enough income doing boarding or training or showing. You know, it's McDonald's does not make all their money by selling Big Macs. They have a variety of income sources from different products and services, and a trainer does the same thing. And it's not just the skill of being able to train a horse and show it successfully. It is the contacts and years of networking and knowing who and where to call for information, and there's gotta be a value to that, you know, so it is not just the act of selling a horse, it's everything that goes into it. And I think sometimes we get narrow-sighted, short-sighted. Why am I paying you $10,000 to sell my horse? You know, I want 50,000 for it, or 5,000 if it's a 10% commission, you know, or 1,500 if it's a $15,000. That's a lot of money. That, you know, that's 10%. And but without that knowledge and contacts and experience, and to make sure everything goes smoothly on both ends, it's really quick to see that that is a cheap investment to make things happen. So,
And to be honest, another honesty is that, you know, we learn who not to buy horses from.
yeah, yeah,
You know, I mean, a good broker that has been doing this for a while, when they see who may be selling that horse, you know, take a big deep breath, because there's could be a potential problem.
Well
And,
put.
you know,
may
there's a
not be,
deal.
may be a great experience, but
Leopards don't change their
my,
spots.
our experience is not been that, dealing with some people, believe that or not, so.
So, you know, I'm not certain we gave you any, solution, but we gave you lots of things to think about. If you call up someone to buy a horse for you, or to sell your horse, the reputable people are going to do their best to keep their reputation and make sure that it is a good deal.
Yeah, for everybody.
So,
Yep.
there's a value to that, and don't discount it. So, thank you for tonight's Barn Banter. We hope that you're enjoying these on YouTube. We hope you subscribe to us, like our videos, and there'll be more. Have a good evening.
Have a great evening.